I have been going to Tupelo Smiles my whole life. When I was a kid, I was unhappy about some uneven coloring on my teeth after getting my braces off, which at the time there really wasn't a fix. I was recently made aware of a solution that would totally fix it, which is exactly what we did. They not only heard my concerns, but they never stopped looking to solve my problem, and that's why I love Tupelo Smiles.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, hello there, meteorologist Matt Lopon here. Welcome in to Mississippi Live Weather at 5, and hopefully you had a good day, found a way to at least make it outside and enjoy this beautiful, warm weather, which in a lot of ways will, for many of us, stick around much of this week. Maybe not quite as warm and dry as today. Those chances for rainfall are on the increase, but warmth does remain the story, and certainly mild starts to the day as well. In fact, behind our front, which will bring some cooler temperatures, I don't think we're going even below freezing. That's a sign of just how much we have flipped things over the course of the last week or so as we've gone to a much, much warmer pattern. Rain chances are going to start moving in. Those will be late tomorrow. We're timing out when you'll have the impacts from those, but at this point we're thinking just rainfall, obviously, because we're above the freezing point. But I think more thunder could start arriving as we get into this upcoming weekend because, yes, with the warmth and everything that goes along with it does mean some storm chances, possibly impacting your plans for Valentine's Day as well. We're timing that out here in a couple of minutes. Looking at the first 12, though, here, you can see we're 65, that temperature at 6 p.m. In the Room to Room Weather Center, warm weather is the story all week long that we're going to be discussing here. 56 at 9 p.m., going 53 by around midnight, 52 by 3 o'clock in the morning, and down to around 51 to begin tomorrow, which in no way would have even been high temperature territory for locations around here just really even a week ago, hardly. That's how much we have warmed things up in the last week plus. Outside in Macon right now, it's that mix of high, thin clouds. Our camera with North Mississippi storm chasers there, looking back kind of toward the south and southwest, 73 degrees in Noxubee County. One of the winners temperature-wise today feels like 77. That's right. Rather than a wind chill factor, you could argue for a very slight heat index bump there down in Noxubee County. Caledonia, same story, 77 what it feels like. It is 75 for the temperature. Our winds out of the south. Measure of moisture and dew point there, that is going to become more of a factor going throughout the next few days here as that starts to eventually come up later this week. One of the factors that will be contingent upon whether or not we have some stronger thunderstorms in the extended forecast, which does, I think, remain a possibility in Rolling Fork, one of our warmer spots as well. It's 73 degrees. Again, that mix of clouds out there. No precipitation coming from clouds like that over the next few days here, but the temperatures certainly have been boosted up. Not as warm as in Texas, where they're in the 80s for highs today back there toward Dallas, 81 for Shreveport, Louisiana, 72 Greenville, 73 back for Jackson, and, well, as you can see, most of our reporting stations here in the Magnolia State coming in the 70s. We're 14 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time in Tupelo and 11 degrees warmer in the Starkville area. The winds have been a little bit breezy today. You know, I talked back and forth with the folks at the Mississippi Forestry Commission about this. One of the concerns when it is breezy and warmer and we're coming on the end of an ice event is that wildfire issues could become a concern because, well, first off, we have things to burn, and dry and windy conditions help perpetuate fires, wildfires in particular. So concerns there that we don't have some wildfires to get started. So be very mindful of this. If you have debris that you need to burn, that there could obviously be some issues related to that. And we just want to make sure that we're being smart about how we are choosing and when we are choosing to burn. This is still a little bit too breezy as we are warm to go along with that. And so that combination, not really good for that as well. Again, Mama Justice Doppler radar showing again some high, thin clouds out there as near as any upper level moisture is to us. Kind of on the wider shot, we don't really show a lot in the way of a lower level moisture as well. Near a storm system back out there toward the Baja of California, kind of spinning up there, kind of bringing a little bit more mid-level moisture in. Our next front, though, still pretty well to the north and west of us. You can see back out there on the plains, there's not a lot of colder air behind it. It's a little bit cooler, but it's not a dramatic drop in temperatures. In fact, checking out those temperatures behind that frontal system there, you'll notice that, yeah, it gets colder, absolutely, but it's not really tapping into the coldest of cold, like right there. You have up there toward Hudson Bay. So it will be cooler behind this front as it slides in, but that cold end of it is not going to be particularly long lasting. That's why I keep kind of hedging my bet saying cooler, but not necessarily colder. Well, it'll be colder, but just not a big blast of cold air for sure. So Futurecast again showing that front moving closer to us. We are mostly dry and clear, obviously, here ahead of it, aside from those high clouds that again emanating from the storm system back out there closer to the Big Bend region there of Texas and out there toward the Baja of California. That's where more meaningful moisture is, again, working its way through some of the higher elevations down there in Mexico. We get kind of the flare up of higher level clouds that run ahead of that. We're also looking ahead of that at that frontal system that gets a little bit closer to us. Still, as you can see, well back to the west of us as we progress into and through your Tuesday, which is why your Tuesday is another day where we're keeping things warm, but we do again have plenty of clouds around. So starting off around 51 degrees, we'll be 59 by 9 a.m., 69 degrees by noontime, and yes, into the 70s as we look toward 3 p.m. The expectation is we should stay dry for the most part during the daylight period tomorrow, but that front moving in will be our focal point for some showers. They'll start arriving by evening and continue into tomorrow night. Maybe a rogue rumble. Honestly, that's probably pushing it. Most of these remain relatively weak and light. But as we continue to track temperatures, warmth remains the big weather story. Do we talk about temperatures approaching maybe record warmth? We're looking at just how warm, just how long, and breaking down your complete forecast here in 60 seconds from the Room to Room Weather Center as Mississippi Live Weather continues, tracking some storm chances as well. We'll time out those for you in 60 seconds.
Frozen pipes can cause serious damage. That's why Absolute Restoration is giving away free faucet covers to our community while supplies last. Installing them is easy. Just slide the foam sleeve over your outdoor faucet and secure it snugly. Also remember to disconnect hoses, open cabinet doors under sinks, and let faucets drip during extreme cold. Call or text to check availability, and from our family to yours, please stay warm and protected.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Well, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhon. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Room to Room Weather Center on Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm looking here in clear air mode. One of the things we're kind of looking for, and maybe you've smelled it a little bit the last couple of days, we mentioned the issues from the Mississippi Forestry Commission, their concerns related to burns becoming wildfires before you and I recognize it. A little bit breezy out there. And I'm not saying that's what we have out here towards Cedar Bluff, but the fact I have a point there, and you can see something kind of drifting up from it along Highway 50 in western Clay County, one of those signs, one of the things we look for when we're looking at the potential to possibly see some wildfire issues there. And that one there, just kind of looking at that, I'm not particularly convinced that's what we have, but not an impossibility. You can see some spots here. We kind of see something flowing. Looks like we had one there kind of southwest of Aberdeen potentially as well. Had a couple of cameras queued up here, but instead I think we're going to go rogue here for a moment and kind of look and see if we can catch any others. So give me a moment to populate that on here, and we'll kind of check a couple other cameras here for a moment, because I'm curious to see if that Aberdeen or the Clay County camera there in West Point capture any of those. And looking back toward the western horizon, that might be a little bit of what we're looking at there, kind of that more grayish sort of hue. Part of that's time of day and just the stabilization in the atmosphere, but maybe a little bit of smoke visible from that perspective there. We'll check our Clay County camera, which might be pointed a little bit. Yeah, hold on, that's back to the west. So we might be able to see something there. That might be what we're kind of looking at here with this kind of more grayish sort of look toward the horizon out there in Clay County. It's an awfully red look on that camera, so I think a little bit of smoke out there. Hopefully that is one that looks more often than not like it's probably under control, but certainly watching that as well. And kind of still pretty orangey sort of perspective out of our Alcorn County camera there. 72 the current temperature at that location as well. Apparently, this is the moment where everyone wants to text for the day. And of course, you can join our conversation in the Facebook, all of the different types of social media there. We have our chat available for folks to kind of come alongside and check that out as well. Kind of pop that up here. And again, appreciate everybody for watching us here on Mississippi Live Weather. Brenda and Renee and so many folks, again, that join us here. Jamie, on the chat. Appreciate you guys for, again, coming alongside of us. Winona, again, that mix of cloud cover out there, but all mainly high and thin clouds at this time. 70 the current temperature at this instant here, there in Winona. And as we advance this back toward around Tupelo, coming in with those temperatures, I mean, they're, come on, around the 70-degree point for every spot. And we're 73 right now in Tupelo as well, as we kind of look back toward more of a southeasterly direction. Again, appreciate Mitchell Cunningham Bowling for sponsoring our camera there. So rain chances coming up somewhat for your Wednesday. We'll have to think some fairly widespread lighter showers and not going to be overly impressive, but then chances coming up a lot more by Friday and also Saturday. So yes, for your plans for Valentine's Day, I would anticipate that we're going to have some showers and thunderstorms potentially around, and that could impact whether or not they're outdoor plans or indoor plans. More on that with the extended forecast here in a minute. We'll do a ton more than that at 6. But our IMPC school day forecast from 53 at drop-off, we're 66 degrees by lunchtime and coming in low 70s as we look toward the final bell tomorrow. That means obviously warm enough the kids need short sleeves for that shortest layer for tomorrow. But again, dry and mostly clear to begin the day. And I think we'll have, again, clouds increasing on some southerly winds. We certainly warmed up more than 10 degrees versus where we were yesterday for today. As we progress into your Tuesday afternoon and evening, we expect we'll have rain chances increasing somewhat. But early in the day, we are still dry and clear ahead of that there. Give me a moment, because apparently my watch is not logged in. That's why everybody's text message conversations are going crazy right now. I do have to pick on Gabe Maynor, because it's our group chat for work that's presently blowing up. Anyway, at 6 a.m. there, we're looking at temperatures around 52 in Tupelo. I mean, pretty mild, all things considered there. About 52 in Amory as well as Houston, 54 Grenada, 56 Greenwood, Belzona, and 57 degrees in the Greenville area. Normal's 36. So again, we've really flipped the script from our extreme cold that we had just a couple of weeks ago. And then, as you'll note here, by early morning, again, we're cloudy, but no real precipitation out there to begin the day. You just maybe barely see it at the edge of the screen there. Here's our next front working toward us as we progress into your Tuesday. You'll note here again, most of the showers on Tuesday out here into Texas, into Arkansas. We're still far enough ahead of things, probably staying dry again for any of your outdoor activities during really the daytime period. But by 6 p.m. tomorrow, as we're kind of losing the heat in the day, first those showers starting to get a little closer there to Mississippi River, Greenville, back toward around Tunica. So highs for tomorrow, we have more clouds in the day. That's the only thing that kind of limits temperatures. So in a lot of ways, we're very similar for high temperatures versus where we were today. About 75 degrees in Kosciuszko, 72 for Grenada. Will be 72 in Bruce, 75 degrees Eupora, Starkville, and 72 in Tupelo. Normal 57, so way above those normal values for this time of the year. So here is our front. One of the things with moisture kind of approaching that front, again, help those showers to spread in, associated again with that approaching storm system from the west. But you'll notice here just a few little bits of yellow showing up closer to Memphis, Forest City, Arkansas. That's where maybe we could see a rumble out of this. But the majority of what we end up seeing remains relatively light to maybe moderate rainfall at most here in those overnight hours, looking pre-dawn here early Wednesday morning. Couple of those rumbles, again, closer to the Tennessee state line, where maybe we'll see a few of these up here, maybe Corinth back toward around Iuka or Florence, Alabama, or possibly down toward Eupora. But a rumble, no severe weather. That is the headline with this. And again, some moisture around, damp roadways, kind of a wet beginning to your day on early Wednesday morning. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley will be tracking that for you. And of course, Mississippi Live Weather app, great for that as well. So 50, that temperature in Tupelo for the low temperature early Wednesday morning. Again, this would have been highs last week, even first part of the week. So we've really kind of flipped things over here with 53 there in Eupora, 55 degrees Starkville, Columbus, and 56 degrees starting temperature there for early Wednesday morning in Macon and Aliceville. So again, futurecast that widespread shower activity, but it remains pretty light here on our scales. We progress into your Wednesday during the day as that kind of shifts on out of here. Drier air moving in from the north and west behind this frontal system is the story. Again, even as we kind of shift things over here to our strike model, there's just not a lot of meaningful moisture out there that we can contend with looking through your Wednesday, so we stay dry. High temperatures on Wednesday, going 62 degrees in Tupelo there, about 67 Starkville, 68 degrees in Louisville, and 69 Kosciuszko and Macon. Yeah, our record on the books is 78, so we're not there, but this is behind a front. Temperatures are into the 60s and upper 60s in some cases. That tells you how warm most of the extended forecast is. So let's talk about rainfall totals. With this kind of initial round here, the first of our 2 chances of rainfall over the next week, the totals are not going to be super significant. You can see where we have the greens on there. Just look at our scale at the top here. A few stripes of moisture up there close to around half an inch, possibly show one there, Yalobusha County potentially, but more probably Panola through Lafayette County. This would be just rainfall, no other types of rainfall there, just full-on rainfall here. And in general, the thinking is it's more light than heavy. I would zoom in and give you higher amounts, and I think we will do that coming up in later broadcasts this evening. We're still refining the locations on that a little bit closer as well. Here's a quick look at your 7-day forecast. Kind of talk through some things here for a moment. First off, again, we'll have those showers around, I think, into your Wednesday, first half of the day in the particular, when we're most likely to see some of those around. So late Tuesday night, like tomorrow night, in a pre-dawn early Wednesday morning. The only reason these aren't higher percentages here is simply because of most of what we're talking about is pretty light. So as far as meaningful accumulating rainfall is concerned, that's less of a consideration on this one here. It's just not really going to add up to a ton. We probably dry things out on your Thursday, and look at this. We go 39 for the low early Thursday morning. That's above freezing, even behind our main cold front this week. It's just a sign of how much warmer we have flipped things over to, and 61 the high by Thursday afternoon. We're 66 for Friday. We're 65 degrees for Saturday. Rain chances obviously picking up from Friday into Saturday and Sunday. Gabe, when you get in front of the monitor over there, let's talk about this 7-day forecast here for a moment. There's a couple things that I want to talk to you about as we think about where we go from here on our projection. And one of those is the fact that, kind of look at that 7-day there for a moment. It does look like you clicked out of our thing over here for a moment. I'm going to have to get you a different computer so you don't click out of
I clicked back on it, I promise. It just didn't react, I guess.
That's okay. First off, temperatures. If dew points could conceivably make it into the mid-60s, which I think is possible, we're a little low on temperatures probably for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, aren't we? That's conservative because we're so far out. Is that a reasonable description?
Yes, and I think that models, when I left Friday, there was no alignment. And what happened over the weekend, and Caleb did a good job of kind of telling the story, was everything kind of pushed into Saturday. Even the Euro was saying Friday, the Euro decided, no, we're going to go Valentine's Day and ruin everyone's plans, including my own. But that's the thing about it, though, is how high do these temperatures get, and how high do those dew points get for the potential of maybe a rogue severe storm? You know, it's not impossible. We're in severe weather preparedness week right now. But we're kind of shifting into that spring season where the potential climbs with each time we warm up.
You know, I do want to also point this out, that Jailbird Bob and Gulf Coast idiots for forecasting, not forecasting. All of your social media hype people had a big winter storm coming for Valentine's Day. Does everyone remember that? Forecast is worth what they paid for it.
Well, hey, and a certain,
but not what those people made off of it, is it?
And a certain rodent.
So as you can see, no round 2 of winter weather, right? But as we very accurately said a week out, much more likely to see storms. And that's the way this probably plays out.
And what was it? Phil decided he wanted to say winter. Does any of that look like winter to you?
Hey, listen, there'll be more cold air. It's not like we're going to go straight into summer here, you know, far from it. But certainly the pattern continues much warmer. So I would say, if we're hedging a bet here, do we think 70s are on the table Saturday?
As of what I'm seeing now, that might be on the higher side of things. It's not impossible, but I would say upper 60s seems more realistic in regards to, you know, those rain chances. How much moves in Friday? Because that'll, of course, limit how much we heat up. But if it's more of a dry day Friday and that warm sector lifts north and we're sitting there, you know, with a little bit more of that unstable air, then you're talking upper 60s, potentially low 70s Saturday. But I think that's all defined on, you know, what that warm sector does to us on Friday.
Do you agree that it's reasonable that parts of Mississippi will have a severe weather threat with this weekend storm system?
Mississippi or North Mississippi? Yeah, Mississippi, I do.
First. You know, I'm leading you there. We're going Mississippi first.
Yes, I do think that is a possibility.
North Mississippi, I still think is on the table. Central Mississippi, much more than North, but yes. I think, do we agree that North Mississippi is on the table as a possibility? It wouldn't take that much more for this to dig more moisture farther north.
I would say the most likely area with how things are lining up in the instability factor, it's going to be south of 82, where things stand right now. But, that has some fluctuation. We're still, 4 or 5 days out before this moves in. So, there's time to move, and, we'll adjust as necessary, but that's kind of what we're seeing this far out. But the key thing right now, and it's similar to our winter weather forecasting pattern, you kind of want to identify the consistencies. And right now we're getting more consistency on Saturday, that threat kind of lining up there. So how much of that warm air surges north? Because down south, it doesn't take as much for that Gulf moisture to lift north if you live down by the beach compared to where we are here in Tupelo. So it takes a little bit more effort, and it's possible, but as of right now, as you can see, no severe weather threat, but
that ultimately is just a confidence thing. Like, there's not high enough confidence and consistency in the models for that. But I just wanted to show that this is a graphic that we'll be showing more this week, our outlook for severe weather. And I believe that we will have a threat in the Magnolia State by this weekend for at least a limited threat for severe weather, maybe level 2 threat for some spots. We will see.
Yeah, and I wanted to say with tomorrow's rain chances, another reason why they're so low is because it's more of an overnight threat. So you have that 20%, almost climbing to 40% while everyone's asleep, and then dropping back to 30% because it's clearing out by morning. So the timing kind of lining up well with the folks trying to get some plans done. But if you're out and about Tuesday night, then you're looking at a completely different story where there's some decent downpours across the area with that those rain chances.
Absolutely. So coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll talk more about all of that. Appreciate that, Gabe, as we kind of dig in more detail back in here to kind of everything during our 6 o'clock broadcast. Well, that is not wanting to jump over there. I'm going to blame Gabe, and I think there might be one thing I need to click here to make it work. It might be half the problem Gabe, half the problem Matt. Well, or the computer. But what Gabe was referencing, again, this combination of a front up here toward the upper Midwest there, and this system back there toward Baja of California, combination that will bring some of those overnight rain chances tomorrow night into early Wednesday. That's well ahead of the more active, I think, late week pattern that will have more of a severe weather threat. We will talk more about what goes into that threat coming up during our 6 o'clock broadcast here. So at 6 in particular, we'll be looking at the combination where we can look at the jet stream and the fuel for thunderstorms, see if we can find the region of alignment and how that works out as far as our severe weather threat is concerned. That's coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 6 o'clock here in the Room to Room Weather Center. We'll hope you join us at that point in time. Like, subscribe, all the things. And again, appreciate everybody in the chat this evening. Before we go here, we'll pop up the chat one more time for folks. And again, so thankful that you guys support us here on Mississippi Live. There's the chat up there. A lot of folks watching, looking ahead toward the weekend there. And nice to see that it's at least in good shape for a lot of spots there like Duck Hill and Corinth. But I think as Chris mentioned loud and clear, and we tried to a minute ago, all of those, there's more winter weather, not in the reasonable future. Just like, by the way, we kind of roasted somebody on social media a while back about this one pretty clear cut. If we're seeing something come up this weekend, it's going to be stormy, and I'd be planning ahead for a stormy weekend as well. We'll see you coming up at 6 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Room to Room Weather Center and for supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.